Several of the soliloquies in Romeo and Juliet, in particular in Act 2, Scene 2, contain sonnets. But what exactly is a sonnet? Let's watch this video to find out.
Sonnets, a la shmup. Hope you like your poems with a little structure. Free verse poetry is a popular form nowadays, as it allows a poet to write without strict guidelines or rhyme or meter. On the opposite end of the spectrum is the sonnet, which doesn't really believe in writing outside of the box. That's not to say that there isn't room for creativity in a sonnet, but you'd better be creative using imagery rather than fiddling with format. Okay, so who are these authoritarian poems who don't believe in rule breaking? Well, sonnets are 14-line poems, yes, 14 lines exactly, and they follow a very rigid rhyme scheme. There are actually a few different types of sonnets, but the most famous is the Shakespearean, or English sonnet. Bill Shakespeare wrote over 150 of these bad boys, which is why they're named after him. He also had over 150 unpaid itemized statements, which is why those are today called bills. Okay, in a Shakespearean sonnet, the rhyming pattern is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Or, to express that in terms that aren't a hodgepodge of letters, the lines that rhyme with one another in a typical English sonnet are the first and third, the second and fourth, the fifth and seventh, the sixth and eighth, the ninth and 11th, the 10th and 12th, and finally the last two. Any deviation from that structure, and you no longer have a sonnet, sorry. That's a lot of pressure on a poor little poem. And yet, there's more. English sonnets use iambic pentameter, which relates to the words or syllables that are stressed in each line of the poem. Although with so many rules in place, it's a wonder the entire poem isn't just stressed.
I need to relax.
If we take a look at the first couple lines of our sample sonnet, you can see that every other syllable gets a bit of emphasis. It's almost like the rhythmic beating of a drummer. So yeah, a sonneteer is bound by quite a few stringent rules, but that structure doesn't prevent sonnets from hitting us on a gut level. In fact, it almost turns them into little songs, which is what the word actually means. And that smooth cadenced pattern draws us in rather than closes us off. Read all 150 plus of Shakespeare's sonnets and see if you agree. Good luck not speaking in iambic pentameter for the rest of the week.
I am so stressed out.
Now you're going to read along as I read Sonnet 116 aloud. The focus question that we'll be focusing in on is what characteristics of love are mentioned? Remember that a sonnet is a 14-line poem, so I want you to pay attention to the rhyme scheme and what is known as that iambic pentameter. So if it's iambic pentameter and there are 5 iambs, which is the pentameter part, and each iamb is 2 syllables, there's a total of 10 syllables per line. So I want you to follow along and see how it is read and how it rhymes.